They say a soldier's scars aren't always on the skin. Some are buried deeper, hidden behind quiet eyes, steady hands, and a silence that speaks louder than any battlefield. This is the story of a man I loved, a soldier whose sacrifices were never spoken, whose pain was never shared, whose heart carried more weight than any weapon he ever held. And I am the woman who watched him break quietly, piece by piece, in the shadows of a world that never asked what war had taken from him. When people look at an old African woman like me, they see wrinkles and maybe wisdom, but they do not see the stories carved deep into the folds of my life. Stories of love, of loss, of silent battles fought not on dusty fields, but inside the soul of the man who returned home from the war with eyes that never truly came back. I remember the first day he left. He stood tall, confident, full of purpose, his uniform crisp, his boots shining, his smile brave, but trembling at the edges. He held my hands in his, young hands, strong hands. He had hands that still smelled of iron and earth, and he promised me he would return. He whispered, "I'll come back for you. I'll come back alive." And he did, but he didn't come back the same. The day he returned, he walked through our door with the sun behind him, but instead of joy, I saw something else in his eyes, a shadow, deep and dark. The kind of shadow that doesn't belong to the living. He hugged me, but his arms felt stiff, cold, as if the warmth had been taken from him somewhere far away. For weeks, he barely spoke. He would sit outside at dusk, staring at the horizon, where the sky touched the earth, as if waiting for someone or something that never came home. Sometimes I found him awake at night, breathing fast, sweating, shaking, his eyes glazed with the terror of memories only he could see. When I touched him, he would flinch, a soldier ready to fight ghosts I could not chase away. I learned quickly that he wasn't just living with nightmares. He was living with guilt. He once whispered, "I came back, but some didn't. Why me?" And I had no answer. How could I? The world praises soldiers for their bravery, but nobody teaches them how to return home. He carried invisible scars, scars no one asked him about, scars that made him smile less, talk less, eat less, scars that made his once strong hands tremble when he tried to hold a cup of tea. People in town greeted him with respect, salutes, handshakes, proud nods. But no one saw how his eyes wandered away, his mind drifting to a battlefield long gone, but never left behind. There were days he sat in silence, his chest rising and falling, with breaths that seemed too heavy. And there were days he cried softly, quiet tears slipping down the corners of his eyes, as if he were ashamed to let the world know he was still human. I held him during those moments, my old hands on his back, whispering prayers, hoping they would reach the places inside him that love alone could not touch. But the truth is, some wounds do not heal. Some wounds do not fade. Some wounds become a part of who you are, etched into the heart, unseen by the world, carried in silence. The years passed, slow and heavy. He became a man of few words, his laughter fading into something soft and rare. But even in his brokenness, there is a kind of strength, the strength of someone who survived the unthinkable, even when it tore his spirit apart. I remember one evening, as the sun sank low over the village, he said something I will never forget. His voice trembling, eyes filled with a pain he could no longer hide. "War took everything from me, except you. And sometimes that is the only reason I'm still breathing." I broke that day. because I realized that loving a soldier is learning to share space with the ghosts who follow him home. In his final years, his hands grew weaker, but the weight in his eyes never lightened. He carried the names of the fallen like stones in his heart. He remembered every face, every voice, every promise made in the dust and smoke of battle. And when he took his last breath, his hand in mine, his eyes finally softened, as if he had finally found the peace that life had denied him. I buried him beneath the old acacia tree, the tree he loved, the tree where he once told me he dreamed of raising our children, safe and far away from any war. Now I sit beside his grave sometimes. I talk to him. I close my eyes and let the wind carry my words to him wherever he may be. And I think about all the soldiers who never speak of their sacrifices, who return with scars no one sees, who fight battles long after the war has ended. Their pain is real. Their silence is loud. And their sacrifices, their true sacrifices, are often buried deep, where the world never looks. If you are listening to this, remember this truth. Heroes. And in that vastness, I feel peace. I feel the embrace of all the years, all the moments, all the laughter, all the tears.